Hi, I'm Linda, and this is No Frills ASMR. Have you guys ever heard of the show Drunk History? That's kind of what this is, but I am going to tell you the story of Oedipus Rex because I was just thinking about it and I thought, while it's in my head and I think I have it right, I'm going to share it with you. So, Oedipus Rex is often quoted when people are like, oh, that guy's so gross. It's like he's got an Oedipus complex or Oedipal complex or whatever. Anyway, it is a story by the Greek writer Sophocles, and it was written in I don't know, 400 BCE, so a long time ago. And the story begins with a king and a queen, and they are just living their life, and they have a little baby, and they bring an oracle or a soothsayer, to the house, and he says, hey guys, the baby's going to grow up, and he's going to kill the king and marry the queen. And so they're like, oh no, that's not good. So they take the baby and they leave him on a mountaintop to be eaten by wolves or the weather. And they're like, bye, bye baby. So then some shepherds come along and they find the baby and they're like, oh my goodness, we found a baby. So they take the baby to a city a little bit further away where there's a king and a queen, and they say, look, we found this baby. And so this king and queen raised the baby, and his name is Oedipus. And then at some point a soothsayer comes, or he hears about it. I don't exactly remember. Somehow he hears that he is destined to kill his father and marry his mother. And he's like, oh no, oh no, oh no. I don't like that at all. So he leaves home and he leaves, I think he's in Corinth. And he leaves and he goes heading away from his home. And that's when he runs into a man on the road. And him and this man get into a big fight. And he ends up killing this man. Well, as it turns out, this man was his dad, his original dad. So he has killed him, not knowing that it's his dad. So he goes on about his travels because he wants to get away from his unknown to him adoptive parents. And he goes to the town of, I don't remember, I forget. Anyway, and he meets a beautiful woman. And she's like, oh, you're doing great work. So the two of them end up getting married. And I believe they have 4 little kids. And then the town that he lives in is overcome with a plague that's just killing people left and right. So Oedipus says, oh, we need to have a soothsayer come in. So he calls in the soothsayer, who tells him, the reason your town has a plague is you. You are the cause of the plague. And he's like, wait, what? Why? And the soothsayer says, because you fulfilled the prophecy. You killed your father and you married your mother. And he's like, what? No, I left town. That's not right. I didn't do that. So then the soothsayer or somebody or somehow calls in the shepherd. And the shepherd comes in and he tells him, oh my gosh, guy, I found you on a mountaintop I brought you to the king and queen. They raised you. This is not your mother. I mean, this is your mother. Maybe, possibly. So then he realizes what's happened. And having heard what happened, the queen kills herself. And then Oedipus takes his 2 daughters, and he was so distraught that he took pins out of his mother's and his wife's dress, and he poked his eyes out. So he poked it, so he's totally blind because he poked his eyes out. And then his 2 daughters lead him away from the land where he is to another place where he spends the rest of his life in misery, I believe. I don't know. And then the 2 sons, I think they both ended up getting into fights or something. They both died. And the daughters are just leading him around blind. And that is the story of Oedipus Rex. And why he slept with his mother without even knowing. He was trying to get away from it. He wasn't evil.